I said, oh yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm not. He's like, no, you are. Your classes start tonight. And I'm like, what? That's how I got into assisted living.
What's going on? Welcome back, Brand Hustlers. Today I'm here with the lovely Donzella Burton, the assisted living coach. I'm not going to say too much. I'm just going to hop into asking some questions based around her being a brand hustler. I mean, she's active on social media every day, out there sharing her message, out there coaching people up in the realm of assisted living, and we are going to dive into what brings that hustle out of her. So, Donzella.
Hey, Ryan.
How you doing?
Good.
All right, so my first question to you is, what got you into the assisted living realm?
Okay. Now, a lot of people don't know how I got into this business, and I'm going to break it down regarding how I got into it. It's a little freaky, a little scary, and a little like, So a lot of people don't know that I had a child at the age of 16, right? So that is challenging in itself. And so with having a child at the age of 16, his father was 3 years older than I was, so he was 19. And we had two different lifestyles. When I say two different lifestyles, we lived up on a hill. My parents built the home. He lived in the projects, right? And I remember one day, it's like 7 o'clock in the morning. My doorbell rings. My mom's like, who's at the door on a weekday at 7 o'clock? It's him. My mom's like, well, who are you? And he's like, and this is before, I'm Donzella's boyfriend. My mom said, like hell you are. you bet. So I came to the door and my mom was like, who is this? And I told her, she's like, absolutely not. She could just tell by his swag, like, nah, this ain't
the vibe.
Fast forward. So I ended up, messing around with him or what have you, ended up having a baby. And my mom did not find out until I was 5.5 months pregnant. Like I literally looked exactly like this. Like my mom did not know. And so she said, with that being said, you still have 1 year of school left, right? I'm going to allow you to graduate school. If you want to go to college, you're going to live your life. And your father and I will raise your child as our own. Even though you're still the mom, we're going to raise him so that you can still continue with life and grow up as a child would have. And so with that being said, fast forward, finished high school, ended up marrying his dad at the age of 19. I was married to him for 10 years. He was in and out of jail. He was selling drugs, like a totally different lifestyle than I had. And here's the funny thing. I didn't even know he was selling drugs. He would get dressed like he was going to work, had his whole uniform on.
So what type of job was he acting like he had? So
he actually had, okay, wait. Hold on. All right, hold on. So he worked for this company. It was like it was a warehouse, like a warehouse type job, but They wore a uniform. So every morning he'd get up with me, he'd have his uniform on, and he'd be going to work. Like going to work. Right. Literally thought he was going to work. He was going to work. Bills was paid. So I never thought anything of it. Like we leave at the same time, we come home at the same time, so didn't miss a beat. And then one day, my mom was like, oh, I heard that he's doing this, he's doing that. And I'm like, no, that's not that. Fast forward, he ended up, that's what he was doing. That was his life. So anyways, as I mentioned, we just lived on two sides of the spectrum. And of course, women, we like the bad boy, right? So my mom couldn't tell me nothing. Like I wanted to be with this person. Like I said, I was married to him, and fast forward, he went to jail. Maybe 3 years in, I was loyal. I was traveling every weekend to see him, 3.5 hours up, 3.5 hours back for 3 years. Finally, I woke up one day and was like, Donzella, what are you doing? Like, what are you getting out of this whole, and I was like, I'm done, right?
Just one
and
day,
I said,
just out of the
I'm done. So when he gets out of jail, I'm praying to God that I still love him, and I'm praying to God that, we can bounce back from where we left off. He called me maybe 2 years after that. I'm ready to get picked up. But where you going? I done already started living my whole other life. I picked him up and I said, we can't do this. And so, that ended or what have you. And we're still friends today, but it had to end because we had different lifestyles. And when he got out, he had that prison mentality. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so my mom worked for the electric company. She retired at the age of 55, and I pretty much followed in her footsteps. And I was there for 13 years, and I was just like, I need so much more than sitting behind someone's desk and customer service and answering a phone or what have you. And I said, I want to be a flight attendant.
Okay.
Right? And people are like, you have a good job. Like, you're doing well here. Why a flight attendant? I want to travel the world, right? Mm-hmm. So, you remember Craigslist?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
I love Craigslist.
Craigslist.
I got a couple cars off Craigslist.
Okay, so I saw AirTran. Remember AirTran?
Yeah.
AirTran was
Southwest
hiring.
now. Right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. They were hiring for flight attendants. And guess where? Baltimore. So I'm in Pennsylvania. I said to my girlfriend, we're going to Baltimore tomorrow. She said, but why are we going there? I said, I'm going to be a flight attendant. She said, oh my God. She's like, Donzella, you've been here 13 years. You're going to be a flight attendant. I was like, yes. So we packed up. We drove down to BWI. And God, that was, oh my God. That was like 15, 16 years ago. Packed up, drove down to Baltimore. Maybe it's like 2.5 hour ride. Walk into the convention center. And literally there were like thousands and thousands of women. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, what am I doing? And back then I was like real quiet, real timid, real shy. And they gave me a number and they gave me the script. And they said, go have a seat. We're going to call your number. When we call your number, you can go up to the podium. You're going to read and you're done. I'm like, I came 2.5 hours to read the script and whatever. So they called my number, went up and read. They're like, thank you. Okay, what's next? Did I get the job? They're like, thanks, Miss Burton.
I got that.
So I get halfway home, I get a phone call. We want you to come back tomorrow. I'm like, okay, like what happened? Come back tomorrow. I said to my girlfriend, we go back to Baltimore tomorrow. She's like, okay. Fast forward, drive back to Baltimore, and walked in, and the director said, as soon as you walked in, I said, that girl right there. I said, so I got the job. She said, you sure did. I said, okay, what's next? So maybe 2 or 3 weeks after that, I had to fly down to Atlanta. Mm-hmm. I had to take my physical test, drug test, get fitted for my uniform, what have you. Did all that. 30 days after that, I had to go to training in Houston. And I was so excited. And maybe a week before I was about to leave, my mom says to me, how dare you? She's like, how dare you pack up and leave and think you're going to travel the world with a child? And I'm like, wow. But wait a minute, you said that. She's like, no.
Wow.
She said no. And I cried and I cried and I cried. And I called the director of AirTran and I said, unfortunately, I can't take the job. And she said, but what happened? And I said, at this point in my life, I said, the time's not right. And I was devastated. But I said to myself, if I continue to allow my mom to dictate my life, right, to tell me how to do it, when to do it, I'm going to be following her footsteps forever.
Right.
I'm moving to Baltimore. I had a guy friend. I said, you want to move to Baltimore? He said, but what are we going to do? I said, I don't know. I said, I can work at the electric company. I can bartend. Let's go. So we packed up. We moved to Baltimore. Didn't realize it was so expensive. We were living downtown. Our apartment was like $1,900 for a one bedroom. It was like really expensive. And so I got a job at BGE, right? And I'm just like, yeah, but I'm doing exactly what I was doing in Pennsylvania. Like, I could have stayed there. But I left the part out. I still kept my place in Pennsylvania, right? So I was kind of like straddling the fence. Like, I was unsure about what it was that I should be doing. Mm-hmm. And then I said, no, like, you've got to let go. So I let go of my place in Pennsylvania, dove in head first, got a job at BG. Like I said, I was bartender, what have you. And I met a guy. He was older than I was. He was a businessman, right? I'm going to say a businessman because he understood business. He knew business. And he was about 10 years older than I was. And he said, hey, did you ever hear of assisted living? I'm like, what is that? He said, you take care of people. And I said, no, sir, I'm not going to do that. He said, yeah. He says, but I would introduce you to a friend of mine. She does assisted living. She has these homes. And I'm like, okay. So we pull up to her house. She had this big house and these fancy cars. I said, tell me about assisted living. I want to know what this is all about. Why? Because I saw the visual. I saw the visual part of it. So she's telling me about assisted living, and it's literally going in one of my ears and out the other because I'm just like, how do I get to this? How do I get the house? How do I get the cars without doing all this stuff, right? So maybe a week later, he says to me, so what did you think about that meeting? You know, and I said, what meeting? He said, the assisted living meeting. I said, oh yeah, I ain't doing that. I'm not. He's like, no, you are. Your classes start tonight. And I'm like, what? That's how I got into assisted living. Literally threw me into assisted living, threw me into classes. I had zero healthcare background, didn't know anything about being an entrepreneur, like zero. And this person, the woman, she said that she was going to be my mentor. And I was like, okay, I can do this. When it was time for me to start the mentorship program, she said, oh, guess what? Your emergency is not mine. I can't mentor you. You have to figure this out. So fast forward,
Crash course.
13 years later, here I am, the assisted living coach, self-taught, making mistakes, errors, losing weight, stressing out, getting ulcers, had a full-time job at the time. And I was just like, I can't straddle the fence. Either you're going to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, or you're going to work 9 to 5. You can't do it both. What did I do? I gave a 90-day notice. Why did I give a 90-day notice? Because I was afraid. Like I was afraid to let go of the comfortability of knowing where my paychecks was coming from.
So what brought you to that point of I'm actually going to do this? Like what snap? Something has to snap, because I know I'm in that realm, in that place. Yeah. But something snapped. It was like, I'm going all in. Like,
yeah. You know what? Because I was so tired of marching to the beat of somebody else's drum, I was just like, yo, I'm tired of this. And then I had this dude in my ear like, I invested in you. You got to make this happen. So I gave my notice 13 years ago, December 31st. That was 2011, I think it was. I was done. I woke up January 2nd, 3rd, going back to work. I said, I don't have a job. He said, oh, like hell you don't. You own a whole business. I'm like, what do I do? Like, what do I do? Like, I don't have anyone to tell me what to do. I don't want, And he says, you have to learn this business.
Right.
And I just dove in head first, learning the business inside and out, going to social, going to nursing homes, talking to social workers and doing that. And I got my first house, got my second house, got my third house, got my fourth house, got my fifth house, because I learned the business. And I think that if I would not have been self-taught, I would not be where I am today. So a lot of people don't know my story. Like I had zero medical background, didn't know anything about being an entrepreneur. All I knew was clocking in, clocking out, getting a paycheck every 2 weeks, right? It was the best thing I could have ever done in my whole life. Like literally, when I say best thing, I would never, ever go back to being a 9 to 5er ever.
Getting your first house, I would imagine that would be the toughest.
Yeah.
To launch your actual first house. What's good, entrepreneur? It's your boy Ryan Roundtree, also known as Tree the Creator. And I'm so excited to announce that I just launched my brand new podcast, The Brand Hustlers. So if you or someone you know has a dope product, service, concept, or idea really making a difference in the community, be sure to hit the link in my bio, fill out the form, and I look forward to you being my very next guest on The Brand Hustlers. Were there any situations that almost made you, I would say, jump ship?
God, plenty of times, because I didn't know how to get clients. I didn't know where to look. And then when I did get clients, they were like $1,200, $1,100, and people may think, wow, someone paying you $1,200 a month, that's no money, right? But you're thinking it is, but it's not. On top of doing everything that you need to do for them, like feeding them, bathing them, dressing them, medicating them, that's not worth it. So I was ready to jump ship a few times. But once I got my traction, I was like, it's go time. So, my first house was a small cottage. It was a four bed. And I had the house for like 6 months. And then I got a 12 bed and then another 12 bed. And I was like rocking and rolling.
Hold on. The first one was how many beds?
It was a 4 bed.
4. And you went to 12.
I jumped to 12. I had an opportunity. I knew nothing about assisted living. This opportunity knocked on my door. I was like, okay, I'm taking it. So it was a 12 bed, and then right next door to it was another 12 bed. So they were already assisted living facilities or communities. They were ready to sell because they were older, and they actually were the first assisted living business that opened in Baltimore County.
Okay.
So they were ready to just do away with them. And I was like, okay, I'll take them, but I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm going to take them. And they worked with me. Like they kept the license until I got the house up and running. And then once I got licensed, and they did not make me pay them any rent until I got my first 6 clients.
Oh, wow.
Half rent, then the remaining 6, the remaining. The house next door, same thing. That's how I did it. Yes. So at that point, I pretty much knew what I was doing. But then after those 2, so it was the small 4 bed, the 12 to 12, then I got another 9 and then another 9. But at that point years ago, like I knew what I was doing, but I didn't know what I was doing, if that makes sense. I was chasing money and I was making a lot of money, okay? But the quality wasn't there.
Okay.
Right? So when I look back, I'm like, damn, the quality is not there. So how can I run a successful business without having the proper quality? Meaning the staff wasn't right. They were stealing left and right. I wasn't transparent. I wasn't there a lot, right? So I got hit over the head. And what I mean by that was, you know when they say God's trying to get your attention, you better pay attention? God's trying to get your attention, you better pay attention, right? So I felt as though I got all this on my own. Not really. Like I was going to church every Sunday, I was going to Bible study every Tuesday. And once I started like really, making a lot of money and rocking and rolling, I stopped doing those things to get me to where I was. And so he got my attention by shutting one of my houses down. That was 20 grand a month.
Okay.
I said,
which one?
That's the last one that I have now. It's in
Okay.
Pikesville. I said, Lord, if you get me out of this situation, I swear I will regroup, rededicate myself. Seriously.
Lord,
yeah, please. But anyways, I sat back and I regrouped and I said, listen, it's about the quality and not the quantity, right? Because now I'm mature in the business. I understand it, right? So now I have 2 facilities, but I have 21 residents. I make more money now with 2 houses than I do with 5. Why? Because the quality is there. I'm focused and yeah.
Okay, so one, I'm
Yeah.
gonna start here. On average, what is the, I would say, the gross per bed coming in, like per bed?
So it's all about location. Okay, so I'll give you an idea. So my house in Pikesville, it's on McDonough Road, Jewish area. Price point starts at $4,500 a bed.
Okay.
$4,500, but that is just coming in. What are your needs? So then whatever your level of care is, it
base
increases.
4,500.
That's right.
Okay.
Right. So my beds go all the way up to 10 grand a month. 10 grand a month.
Based on the
Based on-
baseline of the resident.
Yes.
Okay.
And so, people think that coming in the door that they're going to be able to make, a higher dollar amount. I'm not saying you can't, but you have to be educated in this business. That's just with anything. Like you're not going to go dive in head first and make all this money, right? You have to grow. You have to understand it. You have to understand people's needs, their wants and what it is that you need to do as a business owner, right? So like I said, 13 years later, now I'm smarter. I'm more intelligent about this business and I understand what people's needs are. And I used to focus on what my needs were instead of what are their needs. And residents just like fall in my lap. Like I just got a call right now. Somebody's moving back in where they had left 2 years ago. They moved in with their daughter because their daughter needed help for whatever reason. Coming back to me, $4 grand.
So you went from not being able to find clients to clients just.
Oh my God.
just
Yeah. Like clients just, yeah. And so I don't even advertise anymore. I don't advertise. I don't market. I don't do any of that.
Well, I think there's a level of marketing. It's
What?
more subliminal, but it's just you sharing what it is. I mean,
Okay.
you show up. I mean, you show up in my timeline every day.
But I show up as the assisted living coach, teaching people how to start their assisted living, not.
But still, I mean, I'm going to lean more towards the guru personally.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to send clients her way because I know that she's going to provide a certain level of care.
And also, what I do is, if I don't have any open beds and someone calls me and they need placement for someone, I'll call other people that I know that I feel as though they run a tight ship and they have a nice community, and I would say, hey, this is what this person's needs are. What do you think? Now, I wouldn't be a businesswoman if I'm not getting a cut. Right. So listen, this is what I need out of that.
Right.
Okay. So that's what I do. So I will replace a placement.
Right. Like a finder's fee.
Yeah.
Okay. The second part of that question was, so the baseline is $4,500
At that house.
at that house. And also, what amenities are you providing that,
Yeah.
because you said you're providing a different level of care than some of these other assisted living homes, communities, whatever. So what amenities are you providing that would allow you to charge upwards of $10,000 a month?
So at that home, it's not a la carte. It's just one base price. With that base price, I have a nurse practitioner that comes in, a husband and wife team. So families don't have to take their loved ones out to any doctor's appointments. Everything is in-house. We do blood work, we do x-rays, anything almost that can be done at a doctor's office can be done in-house. We have a podiatrist that comes, of course, around the clock care. That's at any facility though. But everything is just one-stop shop. Everything. Now, my other facility is a la carte. So you'll pay the rent and then whatever your level of care is, but you have to provide your own depends. You have to provide your own personal hygiene items. Everything adds up. And then you may get to this point, cable. You have to pay for your own cable. For this house, cable's included. So it just all depends, if that makes sense.
So what made you go to that? I guess, was that more to be able to provide, for a wide array of clients, or?
No, I just knew that in that area that there was a need for it because there is a larger facility that's maybe 5 minutes down the street. Now, let me just tell you how smart I is, if that makes sense. There's a larger facility by my smaller community. Individuals want to stay in that area, okay? But being in a larger assisted living, which we call a big box assisted living, their rates go up. I mean, you could fall one day. That means your level of care changed. They're going to increase your rent. You could, I don't know, where it depends one day because you're having an accident. Your level of care is going to go up. So the rates go up. I mean, your rent will go up. Now, families can't afford to have the rent go up every time their level of place around. Yeah. Right. So what they do is they'll call me and say, hey, I want to stay in this area, but at a cheaper price point. So they're going to stay in this area, and I know those places charge like $6,500, $7,500. Okay, cool. 55, 6, 65. I can charge almost that, right? And everything's included.
Right. And they have a more intimate space than...
And also at that house, I do hospice.
Oh, okay.
So once they move their loved one in, and normally those individuals are late 80s, 90s, they transition right there at the house. And the families are like, wow, we love that because we don't have to worry about moving them anywhere else. So it's once they're there, they transition there.
Okay.
So that's a huge selling point.
Nice.
Today's episode is brought to you by Roundtree Branding Company. Roundtree Branding Company is a video branding and marketing specialist company helping creators, entrepreneurs, and small businesses to create, share, and monetize dope ideas, products, services, and even create courses. Life is branding. How will you be remembered? Roundtree Branding Company.
What would be the largest barrier of entry for someone that's interested in starting an assisted living?
I would say the largest barrier would be just learning the business, right? Learning the rules and the regulations of the state that you're in. Because rules and regs change all the time. So you have to make sure that you stay up on it. And a lot of times people think that, I'm going to get a house and I'm going to put elderly people in, I'm going to collect rent and I'm going to feed them. It's so much more than that, right? I don't understand. I eat, sleep, and drink this stuff, right? I sleep at night, my phone's right here, because I manage one of my properties. I have a manager over my other property, but still at the end of the day, even though I own the properties and somebody manage it, what does that mean?
You still got skin in the game.
Absolutely. That's right. That's right. I still got to make sure all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted, because you get one shot at this. You get one license, okay? I'm not going to lose my license behind anybody. I don't care who you are. So you're great at what you do, manager, but I'm a little better, and I'm still going to go behind you.
Right.
Because it belongs to me. Oftentimes people think, I'm a business owner. I can just let somebody manage it and I don't have to do anything. You're setting yourself up for failure or for it to, fall or something to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's in the future? What's next for Donzella Burton?
What's next for me? Let's see. I love assisted living. People ask me all the time, am I going to get more houses?
That's what I was kind of,
that's going to be a big NO. I'm comfortable with 2 houses, right? Because the revenue is there. I love teaching. I love educating people because assisted living, this business is in demand. Why? Because elderly people are living so much longer, right?
And the baby boomers are coming into
absolutely.
That.
Yes. And this is a $98.3 billion business right now. So I tell people residential homes are in demand. So what's next for me? I want to continue to teach and educate people so that they're able to successfully build their own, right? But that doesn't mean just here in Maryland. I want to travel all over the world so I can teach people how to execute and become successful in this business.
Nice. there's a lane for being like we kind of semi-discuss being like a hub for, a liaison for, say, for people that are selling their business, for people that are, like you said, you're doing the teaching portion, but almost like placement, like, hey, these houses are now available. So
so I do a little bit of that. People may call me and say, hey, Donzella, I'm selling my business. What can I do? I always got to get a piece of it, right? All right, let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'll promo your business. So I did. I set something up where people can promo their business, right? I'll promote their business on my platform. What does that mean? I put some packages together and I will promote your business. Unfortunately, sometimes people, it's hard for them to find residents. It's hard for them to sell their business. Or they just want to learn what their business is all about, right? So I'll say, okay, I'll promote your business. And I will do just that for a fee.
Sounds like a real estate agent to me.
Yeah. And I had this, I don't want to call a person out, but this person wanted me to promote her business last week. And the information and the pictures that she sent me, and I said, in good conscience, I cannot and I will not.
So that sounds, there's a level of consultation. There's a consultation and coaching. What about public speaking? I feel like, there's...
So yes, I do a little public speaking, motivational speaking. I actually have something coming up in Atlanta in May. So it's about entrepreneurship and business with women. So I love speaking. Sometimes I talk a little fast. People are like, wait, what? I do. I talk a little fast, but I can't help it, guys. But anyways, I love to public speak. I like to talk about just business. I love to talk about entrepreneurship. I love to talk about sisterhood. I love to talk about motivation. What motivates you? How do you get to the next level? So I'm just like well-rounded, and I love to learn from other people.
So what makes you passionate about that? Like sharing the knowledge and teaching and nurturing, that crowd of entrepreneurs.
I just want everyone to win, and I want everyone to be successful. And so if they can win on my dollar or my dime, like, it's great. You know what I mean? So it's not even about me thinking like I'm the ish, but it just makes me feel so good that I'm able to educate people to get to the next level, right? So when I see it, I'm like, yeah, I did that. But it just makes it makes me feel good. Like when I see people, open homes or what have you, I'm just like, oh my God, they went through my academy. Yeah, woo, woo. You know what I mean? So I'm doing something right.
Right. Yeah, I had this, posted something the other day. I was like, it brings me so much joy to see like a client of mine, like their content go viral. They get more business. And it's like, that's me behind the camera or, me doing the talking. So I get it.
It does. But I want to tell you a little secret, but you got to keep the secret between us. Don't say nothing.
Hustlers.
Anyways, like, have you ever had like a dream or something that you just wanted so bad and you didn't know if it was going to come true or
how?
How? Or if you're just going to keep dreaming about it. And let me fast forward. 6 years ago, I always wanted to be a vendor. Okay, what is a vendor? A vendor is an individual that teaches the assisted living rules, regulations, COMAR rules and regulations in the state of Maryland. Okay, so I've always wanted to be a vendor, an approved vendor. So what I teach now, I educate people on how do you start and run an assisted living. I don't teach them the rules and the regulations because I'm not a vendor and I'm not approved to teach that. I get calls all the time. Sorry, I'm not a vendor. And you cannot move forward without going through this program. Mm-hmm. So I'm on the website the other day. I'm looking for something for someone. And I saw looking for vendors. I'm like, wait a minute. So I'm reading through it. I'm just like, oh my God. They want curriculum, they want this, they want that, they want this, they want that. I said, okay. So I uploaded what I thought they needed and wanted. So I got a call and they're like, okay, Donzella, yeah, but no. We need this, that. I'm like,
say less.
Yeah. All right. So send us the information directly via email and don't upload it to the portal. I'm like, okay. So I put a whole curriculum together, PowerPoint presentation, essays, tests, all this stuff. And I sent the information. They come back to me, Donzella, well, this, that. I said to myself, I'm doing this one more time and I'm done. Maybe I'm not cut out to be a vendor. Maybe I'm not supposed to be a vendor. And I think there are only maybe 10 vendors in the whole state of Maryland. And so I sent the information maybe about 2 weeks ago, just regrouped, really sat down and thought about what it was that they needed. And so I got a call last Friday. Donzella, we got one question for you. Sure. What is that?
He's like,
okay.
Come on.
Okay, what's the question? So, where will you be teaching these people? And I said, I've got a training center that holds 250 people. That's all I wanted to hear. I'm going to approve you, and I'm going to send it up to my boss to let her know that I am vouching for you to be a vendor, but I'm already approving it on my side. He said, wait for a phone call next week.
That's what's up.
So, being a vendor will change the game, meaning people have to go through me in order to get to that place, right? And not only do they have to go through me one time, annually, they have to come back to me. Recertify. So again, as I mentioned, there are only, I believe, 10 vendors in the whole state of Maryland. There are 1,200 assisted living businesses in the state of Maryland. So, me being a vendor, like I said, I wanted this for the last 5 or 6 years, and I'm just like, thank you, Jesus. And it's all about timing, right? So maybe 5 years ago, I wasn't ready for whatever reason, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And so I know when you get a call from the state, the number is 410-402. I said, I went like this. Hey, Doc, what's up? So I got that call last Friday, and so I'm just waiting on the actual certificate of approval.
Okay.
It's really game time. You think it's game time now? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
What's the key? What do you say for yourself was the motivate, that key that I would say unlock your hustle? Like, what was that one thing? It was just like, I have to be successful.
Mm-hmm. If I'm honest, being on social media and watching other people be great, whether it's true, whether it's false, because you can post whoever you want to be on social media. But when I see these women entrepreneurs and these women bosses and business women, I'm just like, that's what I want to be. This is what I want to do. And that is my motivator. As I mentioned, even if it's not real, I don't care. I like what I see. And I think there's just a whole level of respect. When people see you walking in a room, listen, I like to shut shit down for real. When I go into a room, sorry guys, but I do. I like all eyes to be on me, and I want them to be like, wow, that's Donzella, or wow, that's assistant living coach, or wow, that's whatever. Not like, oh, she did. No, that's that person. And that makes me feel so good. But social media can be the devil.
No, absolutely.
Right? It can be the devil, because you may look at somebody and you may want their lifestyle, right? Do you have the tools
to actually fulfill it?
To actually fulfill that, right? Some people do, some people don't. Some people will go through hell and high water to be someone else, right? I'm not going to do that. I may look at someone and say, okay, I like that. What is it that I can do to maybe shape and mold me a little bit to have what it is that they may have? Or how can I educate people so that I can get to the next level, right? So I'm going to say social media.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you think, what's the first thing that comes to mind, or your thoughts for the name, the Brand Hustlers?
I like that. So, my mom always said, I hate that word hustler. Hustler to me means, you get it, for real. And of course you're branding yourself, right? Meaning you're exposing yourself, you're expressing yourself, and you're hustling while you're doing it. I love that. And so for me, also hustler or hustle means that you're working hard to get to the top or get to the promised land, right? So I love that name. And so I'm a brand hustler.
You heard it here. You heard it here.
Love it.
So how can the Brand Hustlers, how can the people that are watching, how can they get in contact with you? Where can they find you? What are your social media tags?
Sure. So
websites?
if people are interested in, public speaking, motivational speaking, consultations, assisted living, what have you, my phone number is 443-857-1050.
You're gonna give them.
But that's my secondary line. 443-857-1050. You can use that. Or you can go to at Donzella Marie on social media. You can go to the Assisted Living Coach. We didn't talk about my fedora line.
Oh, definitely.
Listen, I decided to wear hair today, y'all. But normally I wear a fedora. I have a fedora line. It's called Donzella Fedoras. But I normally wear a fedora. But I was like, I'm going to wear some clips today. So I'm going to do a different look. But anyway, so I have a fedora line, which I love. So you guys can go to at Donzella's Fedoras as well. Okay. And if you're interested in getting to assisted living, go to my website, thealcacademy.com.
You heard it here. So that's what we got. I appreciate you guys watching this episode of The Brand Hustlers here with the amazing Donzella Burton. Be on the lookout for the next episode. Get what you then. Till then, Brand Hustlers, peace out. Welcome to the Brand Hustlers podcast, where innovation meets ambition and stories of success inspire the next generation of business leaders. Each episode, we dive into the journeys of those who hustle, those who make their dreams a reality, and those who are shaping the future of business. Whether an aspiring entrepreneur, a seasoned business owner, or simply a dreamer with a vision, you're in the right place. So get ready to ignite your passion, learn from the best, and transform your ideas into action. This is where your brand story begins.